Hi, my name's Strauss. I'm a percussion educator, performer, and designer from Southern California. Marched various DCI and WGI groups in the California area. I ended by aging out with Broken City Percussion. I'm currently teaching full-time at several groups in my area, both high school and independent. Teaching Gold Indoor this winter and then Gold Drum Corps this upcoming summer. I also offer lessons and mentorship through my own private program through my website, istrausspercussion.com. And I'm excited to go inside the shot with Russ Tanakaya.
Hello, everyone. Russ Tanakaya here with this week's edition of Inside the Shot. I am thrilled this week to be bringing to you a performer from Southern California that probably a great example of an accomplished female, especially for March being Women's History Month. I've been following her and her career for, it's got to be around 4 or 5 years when she first started as a snare drummer in Pacific Crest, and through her career in several other WGI groups and on the drum corps field. So I think you're going to find her very interesting. In a word, I describe her as Ms. Intensity. When you see her on the field performing, that woman is bringing it. And when you meet her in person, it's a little bit different because she's such a nice person that it's a little confusing to me. She intimidates me to no end. I've got to get. So let's go inside the shot with Aya Strauss. Yes, I remember this show. This is on the WGI arena in a group called Sky Percussion. And I remember this show because it was really prop heavy. I remember you guys were carrying these props that looked like airplanes or something like that. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so that season, we each had a triangle. It was the missing piece meets the big O or something like that. So the missing piece was a triangle, and it was looking for like the rest of the circle that's part of, so it's like a little slice of a pie. And it's like rolling around trying to find it. And eventually, as it keeps rolling and rolling, it wears itself down, and then it becomes a circle. And then it realizes like it's not a missing piece, it's its own thing. So that's kind of what our show was based on. So each of us had this triangle. It had a mirrored side. It had a side with like a lot of words and kind of ideas on it. And yeah, at the end of the show, we put them all together to form like one big prop. And then we had actually a child come out of the prop at the very end. It was one of the staff members' children. So yeah, that was definitely a really tough show to perform for sure, just because of the physical demand of carrying that triangle around and manipulating it. But definitely fun.
You know, the other thing that I remember about that show that was unusual but exciting to see is that year, did you have 8 snare drummers and 3 females? I don't think I've ever seen that many females on the same line at the same time. That must have been pretty exciting.
Yeah, it was really cool. And actually, the 2 other girls who were on the line with me, Yuka and Chika, are both from Japan. So we formed a little Team Japan gang, despite the fact that was born here, only half Japanese, barely speak Japanese, but still bonded. It was a really good time. And yeah, it was fun having like just other women on the line, because definitely not something I experience every season. And also had someone who could do my hair for me for the shows because I am just terrible at that. So that was cool.
Very good. Well, let's go inside shot number 2. So these next 2 shots are with the Santa Clara Vanguard. And I think what was most interesting to me this year when I saw that show is, one, I've known you only as a snare drummer all of this time, and the show opens with you beatboxing or rapping on the sideline there, and it kind of shocked me. When I looked up, there you were singing, and I was trying to get a picture of you right there. It's got to be a little bit different. How did that happen?
Yeah, so definitely did not sign up for that when I came in, but the opener, the source music was from I forgot what the song was called, but it was from the group O Hosta Brujo. I think Blue Coats took music from them the previous year in 2016, but they had like a kind of vocal percussion thing going through the whole thing. And I think the lead singer of the group was female. So what happened was the percussion caption head, Case Brohart, who's a super awesome guy, by the way, basically sent out an email to us pre-season and said, hey, we need a vocal performer, and it would be great if they were female from the Battery. And I was like, okay, well, that's me. Because I was the only female percussionist in the Battery. So that ended up being me. And then later on, we added Will and Matt as kind of like, I don't know, backup singers. I don't know what, yeah, I wouldn't really call it singing, but backup beatboxers or whatever. Definitely still not a rapper, but was like a really cool experience, but a little bit nerve-wracking for sure.
It was a fun show. And is that the year, did you win a world championship for that?
Yeah, we won open class for DCI for that year.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So let's go inside the next shot. So this shot, I think, best shows what I mean by intense. If you look at these two shots, first of all, this was a WGI show with Sky Percussion. And that year you had some kind of Game of Thrones kind of theme going on. But you are in intense emotions in the show. I love it. I took lots of pictures that season. Tell us a little bit about that one.
Yeah, I remember when I saw that that picture where I'm kind of holding my throat, I was like, man, whose hand is that? Because it looked so like just like and I was like, whoa. But yeah, so the show that year, it was kind of like a Game of Thrones vibe, but in that scene particularly, where I'm like holding my throat, like that was an ensemble choreo moment where like the cymbals like chained us up, the snares, and like we're kind of like bowing down to this new king who just like usurped the throne basically. And he's like beating up on the queen character. And we're all just like, oh no, like, and we're kind of like in bondage. So that was what that moment was kind of portraying. So there's definitely a lot of intense moments throughout that show. It's really fun to perform. And we had a big hammer and we had like a cape kind of representing like who was currently in power, all that stuff. And then at the end, of course, we all die, just like a classic Winter Drumline show move,
Right. Very good. Let's go inside the next shot. Yeah, this is probably my favorite picture of Aya. If you look at my background, that's a picture of them performing at the WGI finals in Dayton, where they won a world championship. And that picture I took of Aya right after the award ceremony. That medal around her neck is a world championship medal. She had just finished taking a sectional picture with the rest of the snare drums. And while everybody else kind of went back to the floor to celebrate, Aya walked off by herself and sat down by herself out in the stands. And I thought that was kind of an emotional moment. She was in her thought process there. I think she has her cell phone. I got a feeling somebody was getting a message, and it probably meant a lot to her, somebody that wasn't there. And I snapped that picture, and I was going to go congratulate her, but because of that emotion right there, I kind of stayed back and I thought, no, don't go anywhere right now. Did I get it right? What were you doing?
Yeah, so that was definitely a super emotional night for me. Obviously, like a ton happened that night. It was my age out, my final performance. We won. We broke a world record. Not only did we win, but we broke a world record. And like, I personally had kind of a rough lot actually. Right before the show where like I messed up in one of our very last exercises. So that was like really weighing on my mind. So I went into that that final performance with just like a ton going on in my brain, which I definitely did my best to hold in. But I was very, very wound up, nervous, and like emotional during the award ceremony. So after everything was announced, like, like I went around hugging everyone, like there was tears, but then I was talking to my mentor, George Collins, who I practiced with the whole summer before I had made Broken City, and who I definitely would never have made it if it weren't for all of his guidance. And I was also talking to him throughout the season. We met up like once a week for the most part with Yuka as well. And we drummed together just like to continue to improve. And I was talking to him just kind of about how I felt about everything. And he was encouraging me actually to get off my phone and experience the moment, which is something that I still have a little bit of trouble with. Like sometimes I can just kind of retreat a little bit, which you saw.
Right. Well, that was a heck of a night. And, that was one of the most competitive seasons I've ever seen at WGI. I mean, the question was really in doubt until that last performance, but Broken City did such a great job that year. It was well-deserved. And I was really excited for you that year. I think even in that Dark Sky unit where you had drummed with some other females, Yuka was in that group too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I met Yuka at Dark Sky, and then we marched together again at Broken City. But the funny thing is, I actually met Yuka in 2015 at PC auditions, but I didn't even remember her because she got cut at like the first camp. And she came like so far from them because like she showed up definitely better than me at Dark Sky, definitely better than me at Broken City. And then like it was crazy. Like she is one of the hardest working people that I know.
Yeah.
So it was a privilege to march with her.
It's so funny, and it just kind of shows how this goes full circle because I interviewed her for Drum Corps World, and when she told me, because I'm a Pacific Crest fan, well, Russ, I wanted to march at Pacific Crest, but they cut me. At the time, she was a Buko snare drummer, and just won an award for that. It's crazy. And then on the same Broken City snare line as you when they won a world championship. So that's fantastic. Well, I want to really thank Aya for joining us this week. She is one of the most intense performers I've ever seen, and she plays in a section that is traditionally male-dominated. That's how good this woman really is at her craft. And before she goes today, I think that she's aged out, so she's not performing anymore, but she's teaching a lot. She has her own percussion company where she is a mentor of up-and-coming percussionists. And I also heard that you're doing a WGI project, the Future Leaders project, which I'm not really familiar with. So if you could kind of give us a little bit of information before you leave.
Yeah, so WGI, they have a program called the WGI Future Leaders Program. We started up just a couple of months ago, and we're focusing towards just making WGI a better experience for everyone involved. So staff, members, like all the participating groups. So right now we're being paired off with mentors, and we're going to be each choosing an individual project to work on to kind of better WGI from whatever angle, like each of our individual talents suits best. So I'll update you guys on that as it goes along. Hopefully whatever we'll be doing will make a big impact for the activity.
Yeah, very good. Well, congratulations on that. And any budding percussionists out there in Southern California that need a mentor, that's who you need to see. AyaStraussPercussion.com. Did I get that right?
You got it.
All right. Hey, Aya, thank you very much for joining us this week.
Thank you so much for having me.